So I'll give a real brief introduction. This is the 9th annual ethics seminar, Ethics at the Beach, and it's great to see so many of you here today. I don't know if you're familiar with the Uclea Center for Ethical Leadership, but our mission is to offer training that enhances the integration of ethics in everything we do. If you look at our logo, it's probably on your table, there are 3 pillars. And the 3 pillars for the Uclea Center are education, community outreach, and university outreach. Ethics at the Beach is one of the programs we offer under the education pillar. We work with faculty to create teaching modules and to integrate ethics into their research. So that's sort of the university outreach. We had a great event that some of you attended about a month ago at the Long Beach Hyatt, a joint event with the Long Beach Chamber of Commerce called Living Ethics Every Day. Luke Zamperini accepted the award, the Nell and John Wooden Ethical Leadership Award in honor of his father, Louis Zamperini. And I don't know if you've seen the movie Unbroken. That man really was an ethical leader. So if you haven't seen the movie, I encourage you to see that. We're going to, like I say, turn things around a little bit since our keynote speaker, we hope, is en route to our event. But I'll tell you more about that in just a minute. A couple things. I want to thank Critical Mass for Business Radio, which you'll hear about more shortly. I think Asia is going to be moderating the panel. But I have to say, this program would not be possible without the generosity of our funding partners. I would like to thank Los Angeles County Supervisor Don Kanabe, ASI, Associated Students, Inc., and Target for serving as sponsors. I'm going to introduce Target in a second. But I have to give a big thanks to Janie Roeder. Janie's in the back of the room there. I think a lot of you are in student orgs or help organize events. You know what a big job that is. And Janie just has done so much. I can't thank her enough. Eve Espandola, also I want to thank. Kisha, graduate assistants. There's a big team. Makes it easy for me to show up, have a bagel, and come up and say a few words, okay? But they do all the hard work. And speaking of Target, as I did a minute ago, I'm delighted to introduce our next speaker, Anna Jaime, Executive Team Leader for Target. Please help me welcome Anna to the podium.
Good morning, everyone, and happy Friday. How's everyone doing? Good, awesome. So I hope you guys are just as excited as I am to be here today. So just a little bit about myself. So my name is Anna. I actually graduated from here in 2011, graduated with a degree in Human Resources Management, and I'm excited to see you guys and really want to recognize you guys for taking the time to be here and invest in your development. There's a lot of students that don't take advantage of these programs and do the extracurricular things, and this is what really helps make you stand out. Just as an employer, those are things that we look for, so just really nice job with that, guys. I started with Target right after graduating from here. I started off as an executive team leader. I was in charge of the sales floor at a store over in Westminster, and I recently got promoted, and I oversee the operations of the Target store here in Bellflower. So if you guys ever want to stop by and give me a little shout out, I'll be right over there. So just a little bit about Target and our partnership with this event. We've helped co-sponsor this event since 2008. And by co-sponsoring this event, we hope to help students enhance their ethical leadership practice as they prepare for the professional careers. So to me, ethics is something that's really important. I hold it really close to me, and it's because of experiences that I've had in the past. So one in particular, I did work for a company before Target, and I had a leader that started making decisions that weren't always the right thing to do. And I started looking at reasons why my leader was doing those things, and I started realizing that this person was really focused on moving up the corporate ladder, getting great results, being number one, to the point where they were willing to do whatever it took to get there, and that included doing some things that weren't always right. And so in the moment, I remember not really wanting to work for that leader and also not really wanting to work for the company. And so I was reflecting on this when I was looking at the topic of ethics, and it just made me realize that people leave leaders and not necessarily always companies. So when I left that company, that just really stuck with me. When I thought of what the things that person did, I thought that was a bad reflection of the company. And so now when I look at employers and I look at myself as a leader, I really am mindful of all of the decisions that I make, because I know that I'm not only representing myself as a leader, but I'm also representing the company that I work for every time I make a decision. And so when I graduated college, I really did my research and looked at different companies and made sure that it was going to be the right fit. And so when I looked at Target, one thing that really stood out to me was our involvement in the community. So as you guys could see, we're here, we're co-sponsoring this event, but also we just do so much for the community. So in 2013, we donated $98 million for education, which brings our total giving to date of $875 million. So and our goal is to reach $1 billion by the end of this year, and so far we're on track to do that. So you guys will see us in our local elementary schools. We constantly do library makeovers. My store in particular, we partner with Feeding for America, and we go to Garfield Elementary and we help distribute meals to the families. And so that's something that really sticks to me, and that really shows a lot about what the leaders care for in the company. And so now being with Target for the past couple of years, I've worked with different leaders and have seen different leadership styles. I've seen, again, the leader that's really focused on results and being number one, and that's all they really care about, moving up the corporate ladder. And then I've had leaders that actually took the time to invest in me, care about my development, care about me as a person, care about what motivates me, looked at me in that perspective, not so much as someone that works for them. And I've noticed that the leaders that take the time to do that are almost always a lot more successful. So when you're leading teams and all you care about results, I think that's going to start to come across, and people might not respect you as much for those things. And so I think just taking the time to really invest in your team is something that's really important. And sometimes you might not really notice it when you make decisions, but people are always watching. And I think I remember hearing this one time where people said, whenever you make a decision, make sure that you're okay with the idea of that being published in the newspaper, right? So you always want to make sure you're doing the right thing. Even if you think no one's watching, you never know. And those team members or those people that work for you, they do pay attention to those things. And you want to be the type of person that people have respect for, that people can trust will do the right thing. When opportunities open up and the doors open up, people always look to put someone in that position who they can trust. So trust is something that's really important. And if you have a track record of always doing the right thing, and sometimes you do get put into difficult situations, and sometimes it might be something as petty as getting credit card applications or something, whatever it is for the company that you work for. It might not seem like it's a big deal, but those things start to add up, and they say a lot about what you value and who you are as a leader. And so as you guys go through the seminar today, I hope you guys take notes. I hope that you guys network with each other, get to know one another, take advantage of being here, but also that you look at the ethics and how you can apply it even to yourself as a student, whether you make sure not to cheat on your exams, you make sure that group projects that you contribute and you do everything that's right. There's so many, you can apply ethics to yourself as a student, you can also apply it to the workplace. And I think ultimately that'll really help define you of who you are as a person and what you stand for. And so when you do transfer it into the corporate workplace, you want to make sure that you don't lose yourself in between and that you're not so attached to results or your ego and being number one and moving up the corporate ladder, because at the end of the day, those aren't the things that are most important. I think people will always remember you for taking the time to develop them, for really caring about people, and ultimately that's what's going to help push you forward when you have people that respect you and will work for you. So just once again, thank you guys for allowing me to come up here and share my experience with you, and thank you.
Okay, so once again, a round of applause for Target. Thank you, Target, for being our sponsor and just dedicated to Cal State Long Beach in general. So my name is Yesenia Morales, and I am the president of APSOC. So for those of you that don't know what APSOC is, we are the council that oversees all of the student-ran organizations in the College of Business. So APSOC has been a part of planning this event. We have been for years, and honestly, it is an honor to work with the College of Business and with Janie to put on this event for you guys today. So I would like to take the time to go over our agenda. You should have it in front of you. So after myself, we will have our keynote speaker from 10:40 to 11. I'm sorry, that's the Q&A, from 9:45 to 10:40. And then from 10:40 to 11, we will have Q&A. And then for 11 to 11:15, we will be taking a 15-minute break. If there's any food left over, please help yourself. And then as well, if you guys are going to the restrooms, they're outside on towards the left-hand side. Then from 11:15 to 12:15, we will have our panel. And again, similar as the beginning half of Ethics at the Beach, for 12:15 to 12:45, it will follow with Q&A. Special thing about Ethics at the Beach this year is that it is recorded live by Critical Mass. So if you guys were coming in, you should have signed kind of like a waiver allowing us to record you. So thank you guys for signing that waiver. And thank you, Critical Mass, for being here as well. And then finally, towards the end, from 12:45 to 1, we will have closing remarks. So I would now like to introduce Ruben Vives. Ruben Vives is a general assignment reporter for the Los Angeles Times. A native from Guatemala, Ruben got his start in journalism by writing for the Times Homicide Report in 2007. He helped uncover the financial corruption in the city of Bell that led to criminal charges against 8 city officials. The 2010 investigative series won the Pulitzer Prize for Public Service and other prestigious awards. As an added bonus, audience participation will be encouraged through a question and answer session after we've heard from our speaker. You'll find paper and pens on your table. If you think of a question during Ruben's talk, please write it down, and we'll invite questions from the audience at the end of the program. We are delighted to have Ruben here today to share a journalist's perspective on ethical leadership. So please, a round of applause. Please help me welcome Ruben Vives to the stage.
Well, good morning. God, you guys are not awake yet. I don't blame you. Well, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about my life, a little bit about my background, and then I'll talk to you a little bit about Bell, which is, I like to think of a perfect example of what happens when ethics goes out the window. So I, as mentioned in the introduction, I was born in Guatemala, a small town called Mazatenango. And I immigrated here to the U.S. when I was 5 years old. My grandmother basically told me, hey, we're going to go on a road trip. And I thought, cool. And so we got in a black van that my uncle owned. And we drove north. Across the border. I actually had documentation to cross here, a tourist visa, passport, and the reason for the trip wasn't just a road trip. It was actually to be reunited with my parents, who I had not seen since I was 1 year old. And I remember that particular moment being very traumatic for me because for the longest time I thought that my grandmother was my mom. And so as you can imagine, here's a little kid who thinks his mom is basically handing him over to a bunch of strangers. And it took some time to get used to learn, sort of grasp the idea that, okay, these are my parents, and these are the people that I'm going to be living with and building an emotional bond with for many years. Shortly after that, my mother and I, we sort of moved around from Koreatown to Echo Park. And I want to focus on Echo Park because I was living there at a time not when there was known as the hipster capital of the world, but it was known as this very kind of poor section of LA. There were a lot of gangs. You know, we had 18th Street, we had this other gang named Temple Street, and we also had, at the time, the Rampart Police Station, which was nearby. I think it was about 2 miles away from my house. And this was around the time when that particular, the LAPD was going through a lot of problems, a lot of corruptions, and this particular division was known to have a lot of crooked officers. And I got a little taste of that when I was in middle school. I was walking with a friend, and an officer pulls us over, starts talking to us, saying, "Where are you guys going?" You know, we have our backpacks on. And the school's just across the street. And we tell him, we're going home. He's like, "You sure you're not spray painting around here, or graffiti?" It's like, "No." And right across from us is a sort of a mechanic shop, where, you know, they're spray painting cars. And he's like, "Well, I'm going to check your bags." And I said, "Go ahead. We don't have anything in there." He checks the bags. And he's sort of very cold, very authoritative. And he searches the bags, doesn't find anything. "All right, get out of here." And, you know, that left a very bad taste in my mouth about law enforcement. And living in this particular area was sort of difficult because you're either friends with gang members and you're also, well, I don't want to break the law, I don't, you know, like gang members, but I also can't depend on the police department. And so you're sort of kind of walking this gray area, and you have to make decisions each time as to how far you want to take those relationships. I mean, I didn't want to fully participate in any gang stuff, but I obviously sort of needed some protection in this neighborhood where I would normally seek it from the police side. A few years later, during the Northridge earthquake, my mother decided we needed to leave our apartment. We went to Whittier, where I went to high school at Lucerna High School there. And that's when I started thinking more about what it is that I wanted to do in my life. At first I thought I wanted to become a veterinarian. I really like animals. And, you know, I graduated from high school, went to, oh, actually, I'm sorry, this is a crucial moment. This is around the time when I also found out that I was undocumented. I was 17 years old, and my mom, I remember her telling me, "Well, you're not really legal in this country." And I said, "What do you mean, not legal?" It's like, "Well, you really don't have any papers here. You could be deported." And this was around the time when Proposition 187, which was a law that was eventually repealed, that prevented, you know, illegal immigrants from obtaining certain services. And so that would make it difficult for me to go to college. And so this was around the time when the governor was trying to bring that law back. He was going to courts. And my mom was very nervous because if that law passed again, then that would really put me in a disadvantage. And so she reached out, sought help from her boss, who was Sean Hubler. And she was a columnist at the LA Times. And she knew of a lawyer who she had worked with on a story, and reached out to him for help, saying, you know, here's the situation, can you help this family? And sure enough, he immediately jumped, came to our aid, and within months, I had a green card. I mean, think about that, within months, I had a green card. I mean, I know there's a lot of people who are waiting years to get a green card. And so I was very fortunate and blessed with that opportunity to get this document that allowed me later on now to move on to college. And I ended up attending, and don't hate me, Cal State Fullerton. And like I could see all those eyebrows just like, oh. I went to Cal State Fullerton, where I kind of wandered. I wasn't sure what I wanted to do. You know, again, I thought veterinarian, but then, you know, I just couldn't see myself spending a lot of time in school. I needed to get a career where I would bring a lot of opportunities that I could immediately get, like within a 4-year span. And because I wanted to help my mom and I wanted to help my little sister, take care of them. And so for some reason I at the time I was doing a lot of fiction writing, and I thought, you know what, I want to do writing. And then somehow journalism, because of Sean Hubler, sort of came to mind. I thought, I like to do what she does. And the way I thought about journalism was a very sort of childish kind of outlook on journalism. I thought one day, I figured the way journalism worked was one day I can write about a brand new record that came out and do a music review on it. Tomorrow I'll do a restaurant review, and then, going to Fiji sounds pretty awesome. And I like to travel out there and write about traveling to Fiji. It doesn't work that way. And so I took some journalism classes. I had a professor who, really made me think about making decisions, particularly in a career of journalism. And what he would do is every morning he'd come in and give us a scenario. All right, so you're doing this and you find yourself in this situation, what do you do? And he goes around the class and you start responding, well, yeah, I would do this. And it's like, okay, but why? And then you'd give a response, and he'd still keep digging because he wanted you to think about what decision you were making. And the scenario was based on scenarios that he himself had been involved in. So maybe at the end of this, I will bring up a scenario and see if any people have questions, I'll ask you to see what you would do in that situation. So for a couple of years, again, going to journalism school, and eventually Sean Hubler also got me a summer gig at the LA Times. I was an editorial assistant where I would basically make copies for reporters, fix machine jams, deliver mail, and it was pretty kind of a cool job just because you got to meet all these award-winning journalists who were working on stories and just, seeing the process that goes into reporting. And I think when I realized I wanted to get into journalism was in 2004, and this was around a time when a group of reporters were working on an investigative story about Martin Luther King Jr. Hospital. And the situation at this particular medical facility was that patients were coming in and were basically dying. And the reason they were dying is because a lot of the medical staff were making errors. Nurses were turning off breathing machines by accident. Surgeons were leaving equipment in people's bodies. There were some nurses just didn't clean their hands appropriately, and so someone would get sick and they would die. And it was just basically a hospital known for killing people. And it was serving mostly low-income communities in South LA. And so these reporters, what they wanted to do was figure out, why are people dying at this hospital when they should be being saved? And they started looking into the doctors, the nurses, and that's when they realized there was a problem with this hospital. And nothing was being done to fix it. And so they started writing stories. But to write a story, you have to put a face on that story. You have to let the readers want to care, to want to understand the situation. And the problem that they face is a lot of the victims' families were mostly Latinos who didn't speak a lot of English. And the reporters didn't speak no Spanish at all. Very limited, if any. And so they came to me and they said, look, would you mind writing this letter in Spanish to this person that we're trying to interview? And I said, sure. And so I translated the letter. Then another reporter heard what I was doing and said, can you do this for me as well? I was like, sure. So I kept helping them out in this way. Eventually they said, you know what, why don't you come with us and help us interview these people? Maybe they'll feel more comfortable knowing that you're there and that you can speak their language and maybe you understand them better. And I said, yeah, why not? And, lo and behold, we're going into the homes of families whose relatives died because of a medical error at this hospital. And I got to see the compassion from these reporters that I was working with, just what compassion they have when it comes to reporting these stories. And the impact that these errors were making on a family. And these reporters, at the end of this investigation, it led to the hospital being shut down, at least the trauma center being shut down. And the city officials finally started looking into this and trying to figure out how can we fix this hospital. And I just thought that was great, that they made a difference. They maybe prevented other deaths from happening. And I thought, this is what I want to do with my life. I want to make a difference. I want to bring some form of meaning to my life. I want to accomplish something knowing that years from now, when I'm laying in my deathbed, I know that I can look back and say, you know what, I gave it a try, I did my best, and I did try to make a difference while I was here. And so I went to the managing editor for the California section, which covers all the local news in LA County, and said, if there's any other way that I can help, let me know. He said, well, it's funny that you bring that up. We have a blog, and the reporter who is writing this blog is about to go on a book leave. Would you mind taking over it? It'd be a great start for you. And I said, sure, what's the blog? And he mentions the homicide report. Now, I don't know if you guys have gone to our website and looked at this blog, but basically the goal of this particular blog is to document every single homicide that happens in LA County. It's a very, very hard job to do. It takes a lot of your time because you're out talking to the victims' families, you're talking to the detectives. And so I did that for about a year, just writing about death and just going to crime scene after crime scene, watching people crying in front of these, this pavement where there's still fresh blood from the shooting. And I took it very, to me, the job was important because when I was younger, an uncle of mine had been killed, had been brutally beaten by gang members in the valley. And that death basically caused my family to basically fall apart. If you ask me how many relatives I have, I would just name my mom and my sister because everybody else has sort of disappeared or just could not handle this death of this relative who basically kept everyone together. And so I knew what the impact of a homicide does to a family, what it has on a family, and I got obsessed. I really wanted to cover every murder. And the way it would work is that you would hear about a shooting or a stabbing, and you'd call the coroner and get more information. And the coroner would also send out a spreadsheet of, here are the murders for this week. It was kind of a weird thing to get on a Monday. Here are the murders from last week. And I would cross-check, yes, I cover this one, and I would miss maybe one or two on average. And after that, doing that for a year, I went on to the morning desk, becoming a general assignment reporter, just writing about fires, earthquakes, the occasional dog story, nowadays Lindsay Lohan. And it gave me an opportunity to work on different fields. And then in 2009, the latter of 2009, I was asked to cover a particular region called the Southeast, which is made up of 12 cities that are located 12 miles southeast of downtown LA. And in these cities, you'll find, Cudahy, Maywood, the city of Bell, the city of Vernon, and several others. And what I knew about this area, based on stories that I had read from the LA Times, was that almost every city had been involved in some sort of corruption scheme. They were some official had done something and was part of a prosecution either by the district attorney's office, by the FBI, by the state. It was known as, basically the alley of corruption, because every city there had basically had been connected to some form of corruption in previous years. But my goal was to write about human interest stories, and I thought, well, this is going to be a little difficult. This is an area where culture really doesn't stand out that much. So I said, okay, so I posed a challenge to myself saying, I will find a feature story for each of these cities. And so sure enough, I did. I found one in Vernon, just kept bouncing around, and eventually I ended up in Maywood, where I was at a council meeting, and it was just a very, you could tell the residents were upset with the council. So I walked over to one of the residents, who we call as a gadfly. I don't know if you guys know what the word gadfly is, but basically is someone who goes to every council meeting and is the kind of person that knows everything about what's happening in the city, and they also are more likely to complain about, dirty sidewalks and, potholes. And so, these people are full of information. So I, on a Saturday afternoon around 3 o'clock, I met with 10 of these people, and, they're just like pouring all this information on me. But one of them that stood out was, hey, this new council that just got elected is trying to get rid of our police department. The police department had been involved in a towing scandal. They were basically isolating people who look like illegal immigrants. And basically, they check out your car, and if it looked kind of beat up, it probably meant that you probably didn't have a driver license. So they would pull you over, and they'd impound your vehicle because they knew you didn't have a driver license. And under California law, they are entitled to impound your vehicle for 30 days, therefore racking up fees over that time period. So by the time you got your car, you basically owe thousands of dollars in these towing fees. And what they were also doing is they were having these illegal 4-point checkpoints. So at every street, so if you were to show up at an intersection, you were going to go through the checkpoint regardless of which direction you were going. And it was illegal. So this department had this problem in the past, and now it was sort of trying to reform itself. And these citizens believe that the council that had just got elected were purposely going to try and get rid of the department as sort of retaliation for what they did. And I thought this was interesting. But then I also heard from the city, like, no, we're just trying to build a larger police department. This is around the time when the US is going through a recession. Cities are losing money, people are losing their homes, their jobs. And I thought this could be a good regional story that speaks about a national problem. And so I started going to council meetings, I started asking questions, and I just felt in my gut that something's not right. No one's really telling me the honest truth. I'm getting sort of the partial truth here. And I just, kept digging. And then sure enough, on one June afternoon, or evening, the Maywood Council decides that they are going to dismantle their police department and fire all of their employees. And they do this all in one single night, and then they also contract these services out. And they look to their neighbor, the city of Bell, to contract municipal services. And so, that was unheard of. I've never heard a city just lay off all their employees in one single night. We wrote a couple stories about that, and then we started calling, the district attorney. Are you, we're looking into possible malfeasance in Maywood. Are you guys investigating Maywood for any corruption? And they're like, no, not really. And what about Bell? It's like, well, we're looking at their salaries. What about their salaries? Well, they're making a lot of money. Well, how much money? $100,000. Well, that seems like a lot of money, but we didn't know what the average, we don't know what council members really are supposed to be making. And we asked, well, how much are they supposed to be making? And I said, with the city this size, they should be making $8,000 a year. Right? So you're like, oh my God, okay. This is something we got to look into. And we go to City Hall, because what we want to ask is for records pertaining to minutes, agendas. We wanted to see what kind of work these council members were doing and why they thought that they deserved a $100,000 annual salary. And we also asked to meet with the city manager, who's the guy who basically runs the city. And he refused to meet with us, and we thought, that's kind of weird. I mean, you have two reporters from one of the biggest newspapers in the county, and you don't want to talk to them is kind of bizarre. I mean, he didn't give us any excuse, like, oh, I'm busy, I have meetings. No, he's just like, no, I don't want to talk to them. So we filed a Public Records Request Act for certain documents, as I mentioned, the minutes. We asked for contracts. And, under law, they're entitled to take up to 10 days to provide those documents to us. So finally, one Friday afternoon, the city clerk calls and says, the city manager, Bob Rizzo, would like to meet with you. And we're like, okay, where would he like to meet with us? We thought City Hall, but no, he wanted to meet at Little Bear Park, which was hence the name Little Bear Park. It's a small park. And we thought, okay, what are we going to be doing? Sitting on a bench, feeding pigeons and talking about city stuff? Whatever. Sure. All right. So we set up the interview. We schedule it. My colleague, Jeff Gottlieb, he drives from his home to the location, and I'm at the office, so I drive down to the park. And I decided to show up a little earlier because for some reason, Hollywood has finally brainwashed me to think that that I was going to show up and then get out of my car in a white van with guys in ski masks who were going to grab me and take me away because I was onto something, I'm standing here today, so that's proof that didn't happen. And I stopped watching Hollywood films after that. And so we walk over and we meet Bob Rizzo, and we walk into this conference room that was actually a location for the Boy Scouts. The local Boy Scouts would have it as, this is where they would meet, and sometimes they would have a camp out inside this conference room, which is kind of a weird thing to do, I guess. And, lo and behold, there are about 10 people sitting in this one conference room. And we have the police chief, Randy Adams. We have 2 council members from Bell, the mayor, Oscar Hernandez, Luis Ortiga, who's a pastor in the city, a mayor from Maywood, 2 city attorneys, and the assistant city manager, Angela Spasha, who at the time was sort of helping the city of Maywood. And so we all sit down, and as a reporter, you start off with very simple, kind of light questions. How's your day? How's it going? And then you finally get to the tough questions. And this question that we asked was not really a tough one. It was just a standard question, like, how much do you make? And that question was directed at Bob Rizzo, and he says $700,000. And my colleague was, I'm sorry, how much? Because he thought he heard wrong. And Bob Rizzo says $700,000. And me, being the rookie in the room, sort of whisper very loudly, Jesus Christ. And the city attorney's next to me, and he kind of eyes me, and I thought, ooh, I'm just going to give away the story. I said, but you know what, doesn't matter, because they're all in this one room. They put all their eggs in one basket, and it's for the pickings, right? And so we asked the police chief. He says $457,000. This was a police chief who had served the city of Glendale before he came to Bell. A much bigger city, a much wealthier city, bigger, larger police department. And here he is in this 2-square-mile city southeast of downtown LA, overseeing about 30 sworn officers, making $457,000 a year. The police chief for LA, who oversees about 10,000 to 12,000 sworn officers, he makes about close to 140, 160, somewhere around there in that average range. So that gives you an idea. Here's a big, large LA city police department, and here's a tiny little town with a tiny police department, and the police chief is making more than that, the other guy. And so we asked the assistant city manager, well, how much does she make? And she gave the greatest response that I probably have heard to this date: I don't know. And I thought, well, what do you mean you don't know? Everyone knows how much they make. And she's like, I don't know. I just care about the city so much that I don't pay attention to my finances. And I thought, oh God, it's like, I need a violin. Like, no, like everyone knows how much they make. The guy at McDonald's knows how much they make. Everyone knows. I mean, you have bills, you should know, keep a record of your finances. And Bob Rizzo saw that we were just hammering her on this, and that he finally stepped in and said, she makes about $315,000, which turned out to be wrong. It was actually $376,000. And she was making what, the thing is, making a lot of money is not illegal. If you do it properly, you're good. But the way they were doing it was not properly. And, we're in this room, and as a reporter, you want to be fair. Regardless of the information that you're getting, regardless of how it makes you feel, you have to be fair. And so we asked them, why do you think you deserve these salaries? And the city manager kind of gave a pretty reasonable, good explanation. Said, I came here 17 years ago. This city was about to go into bankruptcy. I pulled it out of bankruptcy. Look at our finances. We have a steady surplus of revenue. And, I've done well for this city. It's like, okay, you earned it. And the council probably, voted to give you these raises. And we asked the council members, why do you think you deserve $100,000 a year? And their response was, well, we have clean streets, no graffiti, clean parks. Our parks are great. And I'm thinking, that's how a city is supposed to be. Like, you're not really giving me a good reason here. And so we asked Luis Ortiga, the pastor who's sitting there, we asked him, how did you feel when you got your first paycheck as a council member? And he said, I thought it was a gift from God. And my colleagues were like, no, the gift of God is that quote you just gave us, and we're going to use that in the story, which we did. As a reporter, you're walking around talking to people. What you want to do is try to get as much information about the city, and you really have to hit the streets. You really have to talk to the people who live there, because they know what's going on. They know what the problems are. And so we started hearing rumors that there was a council member who actually had resigned from office but was still on the payroll, meaning that he was still collecting that $100,000 a year salary. We're like, that's impossible, no way. And we asked them, they said, yes way. In fact, he is actually, we made a job for him. He is a volunteer at a food bank, our city food bank. I said, wait, is he the only paying volunteer? He's like, yes. And he's so, we asked, we were curious, well, how often does he go out to the food bank? What does he do there? He's like, he just hands out food to the poor, to people who are coming in to get food. And how does that work? And they're like, well, it takes about 4 hours, and we probably do it once a month. And I thought, once a month for 4 hours, and he's making $100,000 a year? I was like, wow, okay. So we included that in our story. And, this meeting goes on for 4 hours. And, my colleague and I are the last ones there, and we're sort of kind of toying with the idea of God, this guy, Bob Rizzo, is probably making more than anyone in the city, in the county. And then we went a little further, probably the state. And then we kind of entertained the idea, maybe the president? We really don't know how much he's making, but let's ask. Why not? And the idea that we had was that we wanted to take these salaries and compare them to the actual salaries that you're supposed to be making in those jobs, like the police chief. And I did end up calling the White House. I asked them, hey, how much does the president make? And they didn't even know. They're like, let me check. And so they called back, he makes about $400,000 a year. And I said, okay, well, I'm curious. There's a guy in a small town here in California who's basically making double what the president's making. Does the president care to comment? And he's like, yeah, we're not going to touch that subject. I was like, Arr, okay. And what we found out from the records that we got, the contracts, we were able to calculate the salaries. And what we found out is that they were actually making a lot more than what they told us, like the assistant city manager. And Bob Rizzo, who told us $700,000 early on, turned out it was close to nearly $800,000. And in the end, we found out that we were actually wrong in those. As we were reporting the story out, several weeks later, we discovered that they actually were making way more than that. Bob Rizzo was making $1.5 million, when you take other benefits into the equation. And so that was on a Friday. On a Monday, we go back to City Hall because we wanted to look at the work that the council members were doing. And what we learned is that they were getting their salaries from 5 different committees. These committees are like, the committee for recycling, the planning commission, sort of boards like that. And they were getting paid $1,500 each for each one. And they were also approving themselves like basically raises for each of those committees. So their salaries kept jumping over the years. And we wanted to see, okay, well, let's see what kind of work they're doing during these board meetings. And basically what they were doing is just approving city checks, and that's it. It took a minute. One committee didn't even meet for an entire year. And, and these guys are getting paid a lot of money to basically just approve checks. That's it. And so we finally, with all this information, we wrote the story, it went out, and we got a flood of feedback from everyone across the U.S. Everyone was upset that this guy was making that much money. And I mentioned to you guys, this is around the time when people are losing their jobs, they're losing their homes, and they're upset. And they have every right to be upset. But the people who were more upset about it were the people living in the city. And so we didn't notice this, but after our story run, the story ran on a Thursday in July, and that Monday, that coming up Monday, there was going to be a council meeting, and so I went to go cover it, and it was just flooded with people just protesting, holding signs, calling for the administrators to resign, calling for the council members to leave office. They were calling for a recall election. They all had like their little signs. My favorite one was, "Welcome to the city of Bell, where council makes more than you do. By the way, we have great parks." And I thought that was hilarious because, they were defending themselves using the parks. And so for the next few months, we focused on the question of how is it that this was allowed to happen? And we also asked ourselves, how is it that this small city could afford such large salaries? And what we found out is that they were squeezing money out of it like anywhere they could. They were conducting illegal impounding of vehicles, as in Maywood. They were shaking down business owners, asking them to donate money to the city. If not, their business would be, having some difficulties continuing. There were code enforcement officers just citing everyone for the smallest thing. I mean, they cited a homeless guy rummaging through recyclables. And they say, "You can't do that. Here's a ticket." A guy washing his car over his lawn to conserve water was given a ticket for that. A guy who had his car parked in front of his house for a for sale sign on his car, they deemed that as a garage, a garage sale, and he didn't have a permit for that. So they cited him for that. They were taxing people illegally. They were the property taxes the residents in the city of Bell were paying the second highest in property taxes in the county. You look at a homeowner in Beverly Hills, they were paying less than a homeowner in the city of Bell in terms of property taxes. That gives you an idea of just how unfair it was. The administrator, Bob Rizzo, was basically also giving out loans to city employees. Here, have a loan here. He basically was using the city treasurer as his own personal bank. Other employees were also making pretty high salaries. And the picture that started showing up is that no one really said anything. No one was screaming out, hey, this is wrong, we should be not doing this. Within the city, within the other employees, no one said anything. People were afraid to lose their jobs. No one wanted to stand up to Bob Rizzo. The councils, hey, they're making their share of money, so why are they going to complain? The police department, even though they were, and they've made this public, even though they were forced to do a quota system about impounding vehicles, they also didn't do anything. Maybe one sergeant out of the whole department decided to speak out, and he went to the district attorney's office and told them what was going on. And the district attorney's office, unfortunately, didn't follow up. The council member who I mentioned to you was working at the food bank. He actually, years before, had stepped in, had also gone to the district attorney's office and said, hey, you got to look at my city administrator, he's corrupt. And I think it was because of that the DA was finally following up on that they started learning about the salaries of the council members. The other thing that happened here is that just no one was holding anyone accountable. The residents had sort of kind of given up. It's like, why am I going to try? There's no, I can't do anything about it. We, the media, certainly also dropped the ball. We weren't looking at that city. We weren't paying attention. The state, the county, just everyone sort of dropped the ball. No one was doing their job, and no one within the city was speaking out about what they were seeing happening here in this small town. And eventually, as mentioned in the introduction, 8 people were arrested, were charged for corruption, and Bob Rizzo is now serving time in federal prison, state prison, I'm sorry, along with his assistant, Angela Spasha, also serving a 12-year sentence. The council members have either been on probation, 5-year probation or 15-year probation, I think it was, and at least one council member we know is doing some 2 years in county jail. The residents were able to get some of the money that they were illegally taxed for from our stories. There were a lot of changes in the law. Now you know how much the maintenance guy at the city is making because every employee, the city are now by law required to post the salaries of all their employees. The state controller has gained new powers, basically is able to pick any city at once and do an audit of those cities to find any possible wrongdoing. So there are, some changes that did come into play on this. And then reporters also got so, pumped up about the story that this is why we got into journalism, to make a difference, to point out the wrong and try to fix it. And, they also went out to other cities and started, asking questions about how much their city officials are making. It was a story that just brought a lot of change, positive change, and the city of Bell now is not the city that you would, that I saw when I started, working on this story. It's a city that is very, very involved. The residents show up to council meetings, they ask questions. The city of Bell now posts all of their documents online. It is just a very transparent city. Its leaders, they know that they are being watched, and they don't want to be the leaders that were caught for all the wrongdoing. And they want to show the rest of the world, we're not that city anymore. We're transparent. We're good. We're good government. And we eventually, this story also led us to look at other cities. We looked at Vernon, where similar problems were occurring there. We wrote about that, and eventually there has been some reform in that city in the city of Cudahy, there was eventually the arrest of 2 council members for accepting bribes from a marijuana dispensary owner. You know, now we've heard about some politicians from San Francisco to Calderon family here in Southern California. Sort of the moral of the story here is that I think bail probably wouldn't have happened if there had been maybe a couple more voices who had stepped up, who had listened to their gut and say, you know what, I need to say something, I need to do something, even if it was going to cost them their jobs. You know, with whistleblower laws now, you're able to do that. And I think that's some sort of the takeaway that I took from this, is that there was just nobody who just stood up and said, hey, this is wrong, you know. And we've seen that from time to time. And even now we're starting to see that with the police shootings that are being well known, like from Ferguson, even here in Los Angeles. You know, the text messages up in San Francisco that currently have made the news. You're just, you know, each of these scenarios, there is always a situation, a case of someone should have said something, should have done the right thing, and that's sort of the lesson here, that I hope when you are all in your professional careers and you're working, that it's about you, it's about yourself, it's about sort of trying to do what's right at the moment. These are very difficult choices you have to make from time to time. I have come across them throughout my career, where I've had to make some very tough decisions, and it's not easy, but I hope that you all will do the best that you can to do what's right, because, you know, if changing the world, making it better, the only way to do that is one step at a time, and that means one step from you, and you, everyone in this room, including myself. We can all sort of help make that difference. And it's going to take time, and it's going to be a slow process, challenging, but it can be done, I think. That's just how I feel.